What's going on, everyone? Jack here from Half Chrome, and today I'm gonna build. This with the DJI O4. Now, I just pulled this off of a quad that I had put it on. Let me fix the camera here. It's a little bit better. Okay, so I put this on my Emax Baby Hawk, and now I'm gonna build this Beta FPV Pavo20 Pro with the DJI O4 Pro air unit. So here we got the air unit, got the air unit camera, and it's a disassembled because, again, I just pulled it out of a drone. So before I get started, this is live. So I'm going to walk you through the process. I'm going to put the air unit in. I'm going to get it set up to my radio. We're going to get ready to fly. So we'll see how long that takes. But it's live, so we may run into hiccups. If you have questions about this drone, about other things drone related, throw them in the chat. We'll figure it out. If I'm doing something that you think I should be doing differently, let me know as I build. But I've done this before. But before we go, let's just kind of take a look at what I'm talking about here and what we're doing. Right. So this is the Pavo20 Pro, and I built an O3 version of this drone. A lot of fun to fly. It's a Cinewhoop. I believe it's a 2 or 3S Cinewhoop. So you can kind of see it's $105 without the O4. So it doesn't look like I can buy it with the air unit. All right, so it's $105. You got to bring your own air unit. That's is it $180? They're not cheap. So keep that in mind. All right, so it's a 2.2 inch. You can do it with the O3 or the O4. I've done the O3, so now we're going with the O4. We got 1104 motors, gem fan props. I do like this Cobb LED. It is really nice. It's super bright. You can find your drone if it crashes. Listen, that's better than a beeper in a lot of cases. They've got this night fire, which basically just means different color LEDs. I don't know if you can still get that version, but it looks kind of cool. All right, so we can fly at 3S. They say 6 minutes and 40 seconds. Well, that's really dependent on how you fly. So we get a 20 amp flight controller. All right. So basically the O3 and the O4, it's just a different canopy, right? So that's what we're looking at. So we got an ELRS version. So I'm going to set ELRS up and we'll get rocking and rolling. So let me just go ahead and remove this here. And I'm going to go ahead and switch cameras so that you can kind of get a better view of this thing here. So give me a minute. We're going to connect the GoPro here. And yeah, we want to go webcam. Swipe. Come on now. Work with me. This, of course, again, we're doing this live. And of course, we've got technical difficulties connected. All right. Can you use the DJI RC FPV on the Pavo20 Pro? The newest one, the answer to that is yes. It just has to be. It's still not giving me video. Let's turn this thing off. It has to be the one that's compatible with the O4, which is the DJI FPV RC2. I want to say 2 is the right number. They all look the same, so that's where the confusion kind of comes in. But if it works, if it's compatible with O4, you can just use that. There we go. Of course. Swipe up. Come on, work with me. Preparing webcam. Okay. We're almost in business now. There we go. Aha, that's what I want you to see, my messy desk as we build. So a couple of things. Let's get this cord kind of tucked out of the way as we set up. All right, so I have my screws here. This is the hardware. This is all the hardware I get. I've got my Allen wheel. Got my cob strip. I've got my quad here. I have my air unit. And I've got my bracket here. Okay, so what we're doing here is that it's the Pavo20 Pro. And let's see, just kind of take a look at it here. Now I do have to reattach my antennas that I pulled off to get out of my last drone. So these are UFL connectors, which I'm not a big fan of, but they just kind of snap into place here. So we're going to snap them into place. DJI FPV Remote Controller 3. Yeah, I think that's the one that works with the Neo. Samuel, I believe that, yes. The answer, I believe, is yes. Without, taking the time to stop and look that up, I'm going to say yes. I'm pretty sure. All right, so let me just take a peek. Do I want to run those through? No, I can do it that way. Okay, so I've got that in. Those are connected. I also need to connect my MIPI cable here, which again, if you buy the O4 air unit, this is all going to be done for you, right? You're not going to have to do this probably. But you're going to kind of line this up and again, snap it into place. It's kind of super fragile. So I don't like having to do this, right? So that's in place there. And now I can put my 4 screws back in. So you may not have to do this exact sequence. Wrong one. All right. Unless you've, unless you're trying to reroute the wires for some reason. Again, I don't think you're going to need to do that, but just in case. So if you want to see my build, my original build with this O4, like I said, it was that Beta FPV Tiny Hawk, Baby Hawk. They're all hawks of some kind over Emacs, but okay, almost one more screw, and my O4 is put back together. I didn't put it back together before I did this because, well, to be honest, I wasn't sure if I needed to, or if I would have had to take it apart. Okay, so my O4 air unit is in place, and it just kind of snaps into this canopy, which is really kind of cool. I'm going to run my antennas now in place. Just kind of snap them, slide them in. Okay, and slide that one in. Okay, so far so good. I mean, this is a really simple and easy installation. Now my camera is going to mount in here with a couple of screws. If you don't have one of these magnetic trays, they're a lifesaver, especially for building little drones. I'd recommend one. I'm going to need this to connect it to Betaflight and check all that fun stuff out. So I'm just going to throw that off to the side. And I'm going to dump everything in this metal magnet deal. Okay. All right, so we're good here. Well, the question is, these isolation dampeners, do I put them on? Gonna, yep. So those are going to go in there if I remember. All right. So first, let's get this camera set in place, and it's these 2 tiny little screws. They kind of have the pan head shape. And my battery is done charging for this. I hear beeping in the background. That's going to be moderately annoying. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Can you guys hear that? Do you guys hear the battery beeping in the background for my battery charger? If you do, let me know. throw it in the chat. I'd love to. I'll turn it off if it's bothering you. So my plan, I'm going to fly this a little bit today, but I also have the Falcon Mini V-Copter. That is actually my big plan today, is to fly that guy extensively. So I'm going to take that out to the countryside. So I can put in 4 screws, but for right now, I'm just going to put in the 2 until I figure out what camera angle I want. Let's tighten it down a little bit. I think 2 screws is generally sufficient. You don't probably need 4. All right, that beeping is going to drive me crazy. 3-second break. Okay, I'm back. All right. So we got this set up. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put these rubber pieces into the frame here. Now they're not equally, right? They're not like kind of equally spaced. So you put the small side into the hole. Kind of, I mean, it's not super easy. Not incredibly difficult, kind of more of a pain in the butt, which is generally the case when you're building little drones. Everything is more difficult because of the size. Gosh darn it. Right. If you guys got a trick on doing this, let me know. But basically, just gotta kind of feed it through the hole. Gosh, what a pain in the butt. I wish they would have done this for you. They do come mostly built. Why do they not just do this step? Probably because it's a pain in their ass and they want it to be a pain in your ass. All right, almost. Come on. There you go. There you go. Almost. There's 1. All right. 1 of 4. We're going to get 2. Come on. Come on, baby. Get in there. So those of you curious, I'm outside of Chicago. We've got springtime weather here, which means this week we've seen snow. And we saw yesterday was a nice sunny 60-degree day. So that's what we get during the springtime. The flying weather is incredibly unpredictable. Today is supposed to be a decent day. I don't think quite as nice as yesterday. Oh, look at that. Now I got it. I'm on a roll. And last rubber grommet stabilization dampeners going in here. And money. Look at that. All right. So I got 4 in. Kind of pull it through. Mess. So we got them all in place. Now the screws are going to hold it in place here. Okay. Where's that? All right. The LED strip. Where the heck is that? Gotta be this. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So that little wire, that's where my LED strip is going to plug in. Just need to make sure I could find it. Now this, I'm going to kind of twist and roll into place there. So it's out of the way of my screws. And I'm going to grab my long screws and they're going to come up from the bottom. Now you don't want to over tighten. So that's really important to not over tighten these, because if you do, it'll kill the isolation dampeners. And that's the whole point, is to kill some of the vibrations. And if you over tighten them, it won't have the ability to do that. So just kind of keep that in mind as you build. All right. I can hear my other battery now done. But I closed the door, so either way, won't be a big deal. This is really a pretty simple and easy build. When I put the air unit light onto my Meteor 65, it was a little bit more complex. And I'll do a comparison. You want to see what does that air unit look like compared to this air unit. It is vastly different. It's not just like a little different. It's very different. All right, so I got to plug my air unit in here. All right, so that is really easy. Make sure I line it up so that it is facing forward. Gosh, this is pretty darn simple. Line up my screws. Now I'm going to not fully tighten, I should say, all of them all at once, right? So I'm going to kind of work it so they're, all right, so that one's just connected. Way. Yeah, make sure your antenna wires aren't in the way of your screws. All right. 2 to go. 2 down, 2 to go. And then we can finish it up and set it up in Betaflight and all that goodness. Almost. I'm getting hungry. Did not eat breakfast yet either, so that's coming. I'll reward myself. All right, so that one is insufficiently. Not squishing the dampener. That's super important. Just kind of so that it's pulling and has enough. There we go, 2. Actually, I think these screws are only partially threaded, so I can't. Yeah, these screws are built so that I can't really over tighten because they don't have super threads. They're not threaded all the way, which actually was really smart on Beta FPV's part. All right. So that's almost done. And this, I wouldn't skip this. I really am a big fan of this light. So make sure you put it on. It is so nice to have. All right. And I may have to cut. Usually they're a little bit longer than you need. So I may have to cut it. Basically, we're just going to peel this off. Come on, work with me here. Gotta have some fingernails. There we go. I probably should have plugged it in before I peeled it off. That was foolish. All right, so that's kind of nice. It's just a standard plug, JST, and tuck that in here, and then we're just going to work the LED strip. There's kind of like a ridge at the top of the duct. I'm going to work it on there. Being sure this is going to add a tiny bit of weight, but I would do it regardless because the LEDs are bright. They look good. They're going to help you find your drone. And I don't think that the weight is substantial enough to matter in terms of additional flight time, right? Like this isn't a 65 gram tiny whoop. So I'm going to actually just cut it right there. And I'm going to tie this into place. Right there. So figure that out. Just overlap it for now. You don't need to, I didn't bring a scissors with me. So, okay. The drone is built. So what was that? Like 20 minutes, maybe a little bit less, maybe 15. That's not bad. Now we need to go into Betaflight and we need to connect it to my goggles. And we got to do the whole setup. So can connect this here. And you're going to need a USB-C connection. Connect that here. Can you help me? What is the best tiny whoop? Be Brad Alston, welcome. What's the best tiny whoop? Well, it's. I mean, right now I would say it's this, the Meteor 75 Pro, but some people argue that it isn't. It's super subjective. I like it because I love the DJI system. The video is just so good, but that's the best 1S tiny whoop. Some people don't want to fly 1S because you want a little more power. All right, so now we're connected. Boom! Look at that beautiful blue light, and let me get to Betaflight here. Share screen. So we're going to go to entire screen. We're going to go with, you want Betaflight. That's not what you guys want. See, if you don't have Betaflight on your computer, you're going to need it to do this stuff. Give me a second here. All right. So my drone is connected. I'm going to click connect, and I'm just going to kind of walk through some of these different things. All right. So as I move it, it's responding appropriately. So that's positive. In the setup tab, I don't have to do anything there. We can see my serial RX is on UART3. That is ELRS, which I will show you how to do that in a minute. The config. All right, so we got the name of it going to show. We've got the D-Shot beacon configuration over here already set up. That's important, so I can make it beep. Let's just take a quick look at other things. We got my LED strip on. This stuff all looks good. Nothing to mess with there. Power and battery, not to deal with. Fail safe, don't deal with that. Presets, not important. PID tuning, I'm just going to take a peek. Looks like they did some work here. Sometimes I mess with my angle strength and stuff if I'm going to fly indoors. I think this is an outdoor drone receiver. Serial UART, Crossfire. It's not connected yet, but we're going to do that. Modes. All right, Arm and Aux 1, good. Angle on Aux 2, fine. Horizon, I don't use it. Let's get rid of that. Beeper on 3, perfect. And tell me we got Turtle on 4, Flibor crash. We're going to put that on 4. That's just a personal preference. User 1, that is my LED. On Aux 4, oh. Interesting. All right, we're going to put this back on Aux 3. All right, so it's going to beep and flip over at the same time. Aux 4, that's to turn the LED on and off. So that's cool. We'll leave it like that. Save. Adjustments, we're not going to bother with. Motors. All right, so we can see we got props in. That's accurate. OSD, what do we got on the OSD? This looks good to me. I'm not going to mess with it yet. Actually, I am. I'm going to take, listen, fly mode. We don't need to see that. Crosshairs. Nope. Craft name, sure. Voltage, absolutely. Link quality, yes. RSSI, yes. Throttle position, nope. I like it like that. Let's save it. Video transmitters, DJI, LED strip. They got that set up. Sensors. Let's just go to the CLI. There's one thing that I always do, and that is to put on crash recovery. crash recovery, right? So if I'm flying and I'm flying angle and I bump into something, crash recovery will just help me not crash, which, guys, super important. So turn that on and click save. Okay. So I'm good there in terms of what I need to do. Yeah, that blue color is slick, right? What radio transmitter are you using? I'm using the Radiomaster GX12, but this will be the same for any Radiomaster. Okay. Actually, what we need to do here now is I got to stop sharing that screen. I got to share my other screen so you can see how I do. How I do set this up. Ooh, it's like Inception. Lower corner here on the right hand side of my computer. I'm going to go to my Wi-Fi and I'm going to see that I have Express LRS and I'm going to connect to that. That is super important. That is inside of this drone here. There's a built-in Express LRS receiver. It is broadcasting that Wi-Fi. Now the password is Express LRS. I don't need to put it in because I've already done that. Now I'm going to go to another tab, 10.0.0.1, and that's going to bring up my Express LRS binding phrase. So my radio has this binding phrase half chrome already built into it. And now I'm telling the drone and the receiver to match that one also. So now when I connect to Betaflight and I power on my receiver. Welcome to HTX. Switch warning. Throttle cut. It should. I might have to power this off and power this back on, actually. Let's do that. Or I might actually need a battery. I don't know. Nope. Boom. Telemetry connected. So we're good. You guys can see this. Yep. All right. Sorry, let's go back to Betaflight. So now we go to the receiver here, and you can see, right, when I move the throttle up and down, my drone is moving appropriately. My aux switch is beautiful. So that is exactly what I wanted. Now, I cannot fly it yet because I need to match this drone to DJI. I have to connect it to my DJI goggles, and I also probably need to connect the firmware. So let's disconnect here and connect it here. And another thing I would suggest you do whenever you're dealing with air units is if you have a small fan, which I do, is to turn it on because this thing gets hot. So I just have this little USB fan that I'm going to put on my drone. Margo, I'm live streaming. No. Which one? Oh, that's... can you just go turn it off? Sorry. Again, live streaming here. All right, so now I got my fan on my drone here so it doesn't overheat. And I'm going to connect my drone to a battery. All right. Telemetry recovered. And now I'm going to go into, I'm going to open up my DJI Assistant. Maybe, come on, you can do it. And I'm waiting for that to pick up on the Air unit. So Air Unit Pro. And I'm going to upgrade. All right, so I'm just going to make sure I'm on the newest firmware. Just kind of important process. Give that a minute, and then I'm going to connect to my goggles. So let's go ahead and I'm going to turn my goggles on. And I actually have to set my goggles to the proper Air unit, right? So they're on my O3 Air unit. You're not going to be able to see that probably. So I'm just going to have to reset that. So right now you hear the beeping. I'm switching to my DJI O4 Air Unit Pro goggles in the goggles. So my goggles are set there, and we're still updating. So we'll give it a minute to update, and then I can connect the goggles to the drone, and then I can go fly, which you're not going to see, but that'll happen in a minute. So just kind of waiting. Come on, 84%. Oh, my wife was worried because we just got this robotic lawnmower, and the robotic lawnmower was running, and I had to set up some wires and stuff. All right, okay, update complete. Cool. All right, so remove. Now what we need to do is I can disconnect here, and what I need to do is there's a bind button on the Air unit. Oh my gosh, this LED is blinding. Telemetry lost. Yep, telemetry lost. All right, so there's my bind button. So it's really tiny. Will this work? It's not quite small enough. So I need to grab a paper clip. Which I have right here. All right, actually, I could have left that going. All right, so I'm going to get this paper clip to touch this bind button. So let's plug her back in. My battery. Honestly, here it is. All right, so battery plugged in. Telemetry recovered. Then I'm going to press the bind button here. Okay, now we're flashing. And then my goggles, I'm going to hold the power button. Find it. Boom, find it. Let me check the goggles. And I see all the telemetry data, but I don't see a video. I might have to double check my MIPI cable. It's unfortunate. Okay. But that is telemetry locked. That is the process that you go through to set up. Yeah. All right, guys. So that was a process to set everything up for your Pavo20 Pro. I'll be flying this thing, taking it out, ripping it around, giving it a thorough test, and checking it out. Thanks for watching. You guys have questions, hit me up, and yeah, log in so you don't, or subscribe so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good luck and happy flying.